Welcome to the LDN Radio Show, brought to you by the LDN Research Trust. I'm your host, Linda Elsiegood. I have an exciting lineup of guest speakers who are LDN experts in their field. We will be discussing low-dose Naltrexone and its many uses in autoimmune diseases, cancers, etc. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to introduce Brandi from the United States, who has MCAS and EDS. Thank you for joining us today, Brandi.
Thank you for having me.
So could you tell us what your symptoms were when you first knew there was something wrong with you?
In reality, I've always had some sort of issues going on. I was unwell as a child. I missed a lot of school. I was actually voted class skipper my senior year because I missed so much school because I was sick. But what really happened that got everything 100 times worse was I had gotten bit by a tick and I had gotten Lyme's disease. And I had started on antibiotics for that. And that was the first time I had anaphylaxis. And it continued from there, where I was having severe reactions multiple times a week. I have had bouts where I was really sensitive to heat and I'd almost pass out. That became to the point where I couldn't barely get out of bed. And then all in all, getting on some different antibiotics and some medications, I improved some, but never to the point I was before. And then I was in a car accident. And then that triggered to the point where I couldn't basically leave my house. I was so sensitive to so many smells. I was reacting to almost everything I ate. We started growing our own food because I was safer with that food than I was from anything store-bought. But the car accident was the kind of the final straw. And then I was actually, the doctors knew something was wrong, but it started out many years where they said I was a hypochondriac, or I had somatosome disorder, or it was anxiety that was causing all of my symptoms. And so I got to the point where I just hated going to the doctor because nobody would help me. And I lucked out. I had to go, after my car accident, I had to get my gallbladder removed because I was having so much inflammation in my abdomen. And Dr. Lawrence Afrin had just moved to that facility, and I was able to get in to see him, and he took the time to talk to me, and he's like, well, I know you have MCAS, but I'm not going to treat you till I prove it. And so then that's actually when I found out for sure that I had MCAS.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what year was your car accident?
It was in 2013.
Okay, so 11 years.
And I had been diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome in 2009.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, not being believed and not receiving any help affects people's mental health anyway, doesn't it? And
yes.
Trauma of a car accident, it upsets your whole body system and everything. How many doctors do you think you've seen in those years?
A lot. And then I kind of got to the point where I just quit going because they treated me so horribly and they didn't help me anyway. So I worked on ways to find help myself. So, I worked on my diet. I worked on trying different over-the-counter medications. I tried to find them without additives, and until I had one family physician I found, and he was the one that actually referred me in and got me in to see Dr. Afrin. And then I was helped by him, and then my current family practice doctor, she is willing to try things because we don't have anybody, the University of Minnesota where Dr. Afrin was seen, sent out a letter to everybody, and they refused to see anybody with MCAS any longer once Dr. Afrin left.
Oh.
And they actually won't see anybody with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome either because they're too much of a problem. So my family physician is awesome. She doesn't know a lot, but she's willing to try. So if I bring something to her, like, I researched this, I found this out, can I try it? She's definitely willing to help me out in that way.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, how long ago was it when you saw Dr. Afrin?
I saw him in 2014, and I think he left in 2016. So I had no treatment from any specialists or anything since then. I just saw my family practice doctor.
Okay. So are you taking H1, H2 blockers?
Only as needed. I develop sensitivities to them if I take them all the time, and then they don't work and I start to get more reactive. So I just take them for short periods of time as needed, and then I'll take a break. But I take loratadine, Claritin, and Pepcid for daily, and then for emergencies I do Benadryl and Tagamet.
Okay. So you do take those other ones daily?
No, I don't take any daily. Just if it's not a severe reaction. So I save the Benadryl for severe reactions because that's the most effective for me. And I also use CBD oil, which has helped calm my mast cells greatly.
But the other ones that you were saying, the other drugs?
It was Claritin and Pepcid. And Benadryl and Tagamet.
Okay, so all of those you only take as required?
Yep.
Okay. So what have you found are all your triggers?
Oh, well, I'm actually doing better now. I've kind of sort of gone into remission this last year. I was at the point where I actually thought I was going to die the same time last year. I was so sick and I was reacting to so many everything. And I would react to smells, perfumes, colognes. Smoke is a huge trigger. That still is. I'll lose my voice. I will start coughing if I stay in it. I have my O2 will start to drop. I'll cough so hard I'll start vomiting. That is getting somewhat better, I found, which this might be beneficial to somebody else that has some of the smell sensitivities. That started after the car accident. I have always had some, like I would get migraines, but never where I would affect my voice, my breathing. And I had whiplash in the car accident, and I started doing something called cranial sacral therapy this last year. And as she has been working on my head and my neck, I have been able to tolerate more smells. Literally in her room, like somebody before me was a smoker, and I lost my voice instant I walked in the room. I said, I don't know how long I can be here. I will just try to stay as long as I can, and I'm going to have to leave. She started working on my head and my neck, and my voice came back. And I actually can go out in public for the first time in like 8 years. I've been able to go to the church, and I went to the movie theater for the first time.
Wow.
From whatever she did. So there's some neurological aspect, I think, with mast cell that triggers stuff. At least in my situation, there was.
Could you explain to us what a typical day is like for you from when you get up to going to bed?
Well, it's different today than it was a year ago. A year ago, I was pretty much home all day. I didn't go places. We do have animals, so I would be out with my animals. I have children, and we homeschool, so I would work with my kids on that. But there were days that I barely could get out of bed. I couldn't sleep. If I could go out and do stuff with my family. Like I would have to wear a cooling vest because it would get too hot and I would get sick. I have Raynaud's, so if it's too cold, my hands would turn purple. So there was not a lot of going out anywhere or doing anything with, friends. I didn't have any friends really left because I could never do anything with them. And my husband and my kids kind of just got used to doing things without me because I could never go along and do anything with them. So that was pretty much 8 years of that.
Goodness. And what's it like today?
Today I can go out in public, which is wonderful. I can actually go sit at the table. Like I've had to leave Thanksgiving dinner because something triggered me and I'd have to go sit in the car. I actually get to sit at dinner with my family for holidays, and I'm doing a lot better. I have a very, very limited diet. So right now I am I would say a mixture between carnivore and keto. So I don't eat, there's probably less than 10 things I eat, but that's something I can cut out in my life. You can't cut out things that you are exposed to in the air, but you can control the things that go in your mouth. So that's one area where I don't have a lot of options to eat stuff, but I will take that and be able to go out in public, I guess.
Wow. What a story. What would you say to other people who are desperately searching for a diagnosis?
Finding the right doctor is a must, and the best way to do that, honestly, how I found out both about EDS and about mast cell and dysautonomia, because I didn't even know what that was before, would be online. You join groups where people can talk to you. You can ask questions. People that have gone through, and they can give you ideas of doctors in your area that might be able to help you. They can give you ideas of what might be wrong with you. I had reactions for years, and my husband's like, you need to go online and ask. And I did, and there was tons of people were like, oh, you must have this. This is that sounds just like what I have. And I think the online support community for people with chronic illness is just so very important for help, for guidance, for leading to what doctors to go to. I think it's a great opportunity to get help for yourself, because doctors aren't always there to help you. I have found anyways. Hopefully it's like that other places, but I know in my area it has not been beneficial for me, except for my current family doctor. I have no complaints. She's wonderful. And Dr. Afrin is wonderful.
That's good. So what are your plans now what's your regime to keep your health as good as it is and improve it?
Well, I have been, now that I can actually go out in public, I have been going to the gym 3 times a day, trying to strengthen my body, because with Ehlers-Danlos, it makes a huge difference of how you feel, how your joints are stabilized, of falls, things like that. I am staying on my diet. I am completely sugar-free, gluten-free. I believe I have had the greatest, even before I had gotten help with the cranial sacral, all of that stuff, I had started the keto and the carnivore diet, and my labs, my liver wasn't functioning well, my pancreas pretty much wasn't functioning, my kidney enzymes my kidney function was low. All of that within 4 or 5 months of going keto carnivore have straightened out. I don't have the swollen abdomen I had before. So I'm going to continue on that diet. I have seen a huge improvement with that. I've continued with the physical therapy for the cranial sacral. I've also done, found that nervous system deregulation is a necessity for my body, because my body likes to go into fight or flight, and for no reason. I couldn't watch a movie, like a stressful movie, and my body would freak out because it just over responded to stress. So a lot of stress techniques to calm your body down, breathing things, vagus nerve stuff, all of that has helped, and I'm continuing to work on those to hopefully stay in the condition I'm in or improve and not go back to what I was a year ago.
Exactly. I mean, you've done remarkably well, haven't you, considering you're not taking drugs to get you to where you are. Did you honestly say that you go to the gym 3 times a day?
No, not 3 times a day. I may have said that.
Okay.
3 times a week.
Okay. And I was thinking,
No.
my goodness, 3 times a day. How did she fit it in? How did she recover? Yeah.
No, 3 times a week. No. Yeah, that would be impressive if I had that much time and energy. But
it would.
And I mean, I'm not saying I don't have any bad days. Still, I still have days where I have a hard time getting out of bed. But just comparatively. But I did honestly. Last year I was so sick, and out of the middle of the blue, I'm a believer in God, and God, there was just a Bible verse that came in my head that said, you need to assemble with other Christians. And I haven't done it for years. And I'm like, well, God doesn't tell you to do that unless he's going to give you the ability. And I do credit God to a lot of my healing. I'm not saying it wasn't a lot of hard work on my behalf, because there's been a lot of work and sickness, and I've had struggles. I had a bee sting. I've had so many falls. I had a head injury and a neck injury that I started getting central apneas this last year, where every time I fell asleep, I quit breathing, which is really scary and terrifying. But through it all, I do give credit to God to get me to where I'm at right now. And I'm hoping to stay here, so I'm trying to do all of the things that I've learned through a lot of the online communities, is where I've gotten the ideas and stuff for what to try and what has helped me.
Thank you very much for having joined us today.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to do that.
I'm Dr. Leonard Weinstock, a guy who's been prescribing LDN since 2005, and I've seen the wonders. And I keep on seeing them, especially in hard-to-diagnose conditions. They're not that hard to do, but once you know about mast cell activation syndrome, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, you'll find that 17% of your friends or relatives have one or more of these conditions, and you can help them. We're making a documentary to wake up the medical community, to educate the population, but we need funding. So please fund whatever you can afford, no matter how little. www.mcasfund.com. That's mcasfund.com.
Any questions or comments you may have, please email me, Linda, Linda, at ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciated your company. Until next time, stay safe and keep well.